Hi there and welcome back to Survival Strategies for Depression, Section 4.
In this section, we are going to look at how to manage our thoughts and expectations.
We'll be looking at the very important area of your thinking and how our thoughts affect and influence our mood and functioning. We will also identify key thought management strategies to change and improve the quality of our thoughts. Today we are filming in front of the beautiful Arrow River in Arrowtown, central Otago, New Zealand. People often think better when they are out of the noise and clutter of their busy lives, and when in a relaxed setting like this. However, it takes a lot more to manage and improve our thoughts than just being in nature. So let's get started. Someone once said, if think you can or think you can't, either way you are right. There is no doubt that our thoughts have a significant impact on our mood and performance. We all have self-talk and an attitude towards ourselves, which is essentially the way that we treat ourselves, or the style and nature of our self-talk. This attitude is generally made up of our experiences, values, thoughts and beliefs about ourselves and the world around us, which is most likely a product of our genetics and upbringing and socialization. The important thing to realize is that you can change this attitude and self-talk to how you would like to treat and think about ourselves and the world around us. For complex reasons, we all have thoughts towards ourselves which range from negative and critical to positive and supportive. Most of us have a combination of both. However, most people are more aware and struggle with the negative and critical thoughts they have about themselves and the world around them. The problem with critical and negative thoughts is it can be detrimental to your mood and performance, where generally a positive attitude and self-talk can lift your mood and your functioning. If you're aware that your thoughts towards yourself are negative and critical, and you want to make a change, it is likely to take time and practice, as you have probably been thinking and treating yourself like this for a long time. It is like physical exercise. If you do it over time, you'll get stronger. Choosing to treat yourself in an encouraging and supportive way is like doing psychological exercise. If you do it over time, you will get stronger. And the quality and nature of your thoughts is likely to improve. What you feed tends to grow and get stronger, and what you starve tends to get weaker and diminish. If you start feeding yourself on a diet of encouragement and support, then you are more likely to strengthen and protect your mood and improve your general functioning. A good example of positive encouraging thoughts and self-talk are like those in the Positive Thoughts worksheet in your resource book. The first strategy to improve the quality of your thinking is to expose yourself to regular inputs of personalized positive thoughts. Here are some examples. It's okay. I'm making progress. Just keep taking one step at a time. I managed that hard situation really well. I'm getting stronger and more resilient. I know I'm going to be okay, and I'm improving all the time. I can tolerate these feelings. I've managed them many times before. I really like the way I'm treating my family and friends. It's okay if I make mistakes. It'll be a good learning experience, which I can learn from. I'm improving and I'm achieving better at work and at home and socially. It's okay if some people don't like me. I like myself, and I'll continue to show friendliness and respect to all people, regardless of how they treat me. I won't give up, and I won't be passive. I'll be proactive, and I'll do what I need to do for my health and well-being. There are lots of things I can do to feel better. I'll start doing them one at a time. Someone once said, be careful how you talk to yourself, because you are listening. These are the kind of thoughts you need to be listening to on a regular and consistent basis. Listening to these thoughts on a regular basis can help to improve and maintain a positive mood. You could read the Positive Thoughts worksheet on a daily basis. Also, daily, you could read the helpful thoughts list that you developed in section 3 when you looked at positive influence, which are helpful personalized thoughts which suit you, your temperament and your situation. To support the exposure of positive thoughts in your life, you could make an audio recording of them and listen to them daily through your phone or iPod at times that are convenient to you, like when driving to work or driving home from work. You could also listen to other audiobooks and podcasts that are positive and encouraging and inspiring. Then expose yourself to these on a regular basis. Remember, what you feed grows, and what you start gets weaker. As you feed your system on these thoughts, they will grow and get stronger. And as you starve your old thoughts, they will grow weaker and diminish over time. Our thoughts are a bit like the software in a computer. You've heard the saying, garbage in, garbage out. The majority of computer problems are not hardware, they are software. It can be like that with us. There's often nothing wrong with our brains. However, we all have old, unhelpful programming and software from the past that can cause our system to run poorly. Sometimes this old programming is in the form of strong negative beliefs and thoughts that tend to be repetitive. These thoughts are like old software, or like an old broken record that gets stuck in a groove, playing the same old messages over and over. How and why these beliefs and thoughts have become so entrenched and influential in our lives is complex and to some extent uncertain. Automatic negative thoughts often reflect insecurities and concerns and are often the ones that cause us the most emotional distress and reduce our performance and general functioning. People who are depressed tend to think negative thoughts about themselves, about the world around them and their future. And it's these thoughts that are often the ones that are responsible for low mood and depression. It's also these thoughts that can reduce a person's performance and functioning. I think we can all relate to days where we've struggled with insecurities and negative thoughts and critical self-talk, perhaps about our work, which has made it much more difficult to enjoy our day and to function as good as we could do. It's reassuring to know that these thoughts can be influenced and changed, which in turn can help to lift depression and improve a person's mood and functioning. If thinking influences our mood, then it makes sense that if we want to change our feelings, we need to change the way that we think. The first thing needed, if you are going to change habitual negative self-talk, is thought awareness. If you are not aware of your negative thoughts, it's going to be very difficult to change them. A way to develop and practice thought awareness is whenever you feel low or stressed, review your thoughts, as negative thoughts are more likely to be present at these times of stress and low mood. Another way to develop thought awareness is to routinely check in and review your thought content. For example, you can review your thought content every hour. Practicing this will help to develop thought awareness. You could set a chime on your watch or on your phone to go off every hour, which is a reminder to review your thought content. The second important thing to do when you want to change negative thinking is to not be passive. When you are aware that your thinking is negative, don't be passive and accept those thoughts. And don't say to yourself things like, oh well, that's just the way it is, it's the way it's always been. Every time you notice that your thinking is negative, you need to initiate like a psychological trigger or an alarm, which is like an automatic response that you trigger off every time you notice that you are thinking negatively or critically. For example, a personal alert could be something like, I'm starting to think negatively, these thoughts are not helpful, they are like poison to me, I won't accept them, and I will now replace them. This psychological alert is the first thing that you should think every time you become aware of negative thinking. The take-home message here is don't be passive with negative thoughts. The longer you leave them, the stronger they will get. When you leave negative thoughts to dwell in your consciousness without any challenge or intervention on your part, they tend to grow stronger and start to have a negative effect on your mood and general performance. It's important to act quickly and assertively with negative thinking, because by nature they are like wet concrete. The longer you leave them, the more that they will set and harden, and the harder they will be to remove. That's why you need some kind of psychological alert that is activated when you become aware of negative thoughts. The next step is to replace them. So when you have become aware of negative thoughts and alerted yourself that they are present and that you won't accept them and that you're going to replace them, the next step is to take assertive psychological action and replace them. You'll find a helpful process and tool to do this by using the Change Negative Thoughts worksheet. Now would be a good time to create your negative thought alert and identify any strong negative habitual thoughts that you have and record them in the current negative thoughts section. The unhelpful thoughts that you identified back in section 3 could be a good place to start in identifying current negative thinking. The next step is to evaluate them by asking yourself questions in the evaluation section, and then develop and record new thoughts which are more positive, more helpful and realistic. An example of how this could work in real life is as follows.
So this is an example of how the Changing Unhelpful Thinking worksheet could work. A person could identify their negative thought as, I'm not going to be able to cope at work today, I'm going to fail. They could create a negative thought alert which could be, no, I won't think like that, and I will change that thought right now. And then every time they think this negative thought, that is what they will say to themselves. Then they could evaluate it by asking themselves, is this thinking helpful, which would be no? Is it strengthening, which would be no? Is it accurate? Here they could ask themselves, how many days have they worked and how many days have they not coped and failed? The answer is most likely to be very few, if any, so the answer is also no. And lastly, is it making them feel any better, which would also be no. Then they could create a new thought that is helpful, strengthening, accurate, and makes them feel better. Something like, I have felt like this before many times, but the truth is I did cope and manage. If I need help and support, I will ask for it. I will be as planned as I can and focused on one task at a time. I will work at a steady pace, take my breaks, and enjoy my day. So that's an example of how a person could use the Changing Unhelpful Thinking worksheet. So now you could write in what is needed and relevant for you regarding negative thinking.
The last step is to replace the old thoughts by saying the new thoughts out loud in your mind, and do this every time you become aware of the old thinking. Now once you get used to this, you don't have to use this worksheet. You just do it in your head in real time. So in summary, the process to change negative thoughts is this. 1. Become aware of your negative thinking. 2. Activate your negative thought alert. 3. Identify your negative thought. 4. Evaluate your negative thought. 5. Replace your negative thought. 6. Say the replacement thought in your mind every time you are conscious of the old thought. This is not magic or the power of positive thinking, but it's a psychological exercise which can have a very positive effect if you use it. So I recommend you do the following things now. Firstly, decide on a way to expose yourself on a regular basis to positive thoughts, and you can record when and how you'll do this in the Wellbeing.
An example of how you could use the Wellbeing Plan to expose yourself to positive thoughts could be as follows. You could decide to listen to positive thoughts or a positive and inspiring audiobook while driving home from work. So you could put in there, listen to positive audio content. So that's just an example of how you could use the wellbeing plan for positive thoughts. Now you can write in what is relevant and needed for your life regarding positive thoughts.
Secondly, set up a process to develop more awareness on your negative thinking. Like make it compulsory to examine your thought content when you feel stressed or low, or set up a regular time where you review your thought content. And when you have reviewed your thoughts, use the replacement thought strategy.
Take the time to identify a thought alert and any current negative thinking about yourself or a situation. Evaluate your thinking and create new thoughts that are more helpful, strengthening and accurate, that make you feel better. And remember to say the replacement thought out loud in your mind every time you become conscious of the old thought.
Remember what you feed grows, and with time and perseverance, using this thought replacement method, you can produce a change in the quality and nature of your thinking, and thus have a very positive influence on your mood.
Now, if you feel you need more than this program right now, you can call one of the numbers on the screen for someone to talk to.